So about 10 years ago, I met a young woman named Kate for a coffee. And what began as a polite conversation quickly became one of the most fascinating life stories I think I've ever heard. Kate grew up in Sorrento long before it became affluent coastal town that we know today. Back then, it was a quiet seaside village, and she lived in a modest home with her parents and her siblings. Her dad ran a small TV and hi-fi repair shop, and while her mum was a nurse. Then her father made one decision that would quietly shape her whole future. He removed the television from the family home. Instead of watching TV, the children were encouraged to read and play outside, practice piano at school. Now, it wasn't easy. Everyone talked about TV shows like Beverly Hills 90210 and Friends, and Kate had no idea about what they were discussing. And her classmates even nicknamed her Amish Kate. That's something that deeply hurt her as a young teenager. So rather than dwell on it, she immersed herself in books and piano. They then landed a part-time job at the local Coles Deli, and she loved earning money. And unlike many of her contemporaries who spent their wages on fashion and fashion magazines, Kate bought her first copy of the Australian Property Investor magazine, and she read every page and then eagerly counted down the days until the next copy. And she was hooked. With the absence of television, it had removed all distractions. Her job taught her the value of saving, and together those two things laid the foundation for everything that followed. So while she was studying chemistry at Monash Uni, Kate worked every shift she could. She saved relentlessly, and at just 21 years old, she bought her first home in Seaford. Now, it wasn't glamorous, the house needed plenty of work, but the land was exceptional. And there was no financial help, just years of disciplined savings, courage and determination. And she remembers being equally exhilarated and terrified all at the same time. So after graduating uni, Kate joined Orica and built a successful career. But it wasn't her passion. She left the corporate world and started in real estate on commission only. She walked every street, letterboxed thousands of homes, and built her reputation one conversation at a time. Then she made now what she calls her biggest investment mistake. She sold her Seaford home with its large block of land to buy a brand new apartment in Mordialloc, and in time the apartment fell in value while the Seaford land soared. And that painful lesson became the cornerstone of her investment philosophy. Buy quality land, think long term, and never underestimate value of location. She also believed investment property should be a wonderful place for families to live. So that she believes well-maintaining and painted homes, not only good for investment, great for tenants too. So over time, she built her portfolio, buying older properties with strong land value and excellent fundamentals. And along the way, she married someone who was equally passionate about numbers and planning. And together they renovated properties themselves, they travelled where necessary and added value through hard work and steadily grew their wealth. And she became a mum. Kate reinvented herself again, working as a mortgage broker so she could spend her days with her daughter and the nights helping her clients. And eventually, encouraged by her husband, she launched her own boutique buyers advocacy. And today she's helped thousands of Australians build wealth through property. And she's especially passionate about empowering young women to invest in themselves and secure their financial future. And that includes my daughter and my son. And what began as a small advisory business has evolved into a nationally recognised property brand. Kate is now a regular commentator for all the leading property and TV networks. She's a 3-time book author, a respected podcast host, and chair of leading property industry organisations. Yet through all the success, just one thing has never changed. She still loves property. She still loves helping people. And it all began with one checkout girl who chose a property magazine over a fashion magazine and never stopped believing in what was possible. And that girl I met over a decade ago for coffee is my dear friend and colleague, Cate Bakos.